Hey guys, Adam here. Today I'm going to show you how to replace this little green guy, the window roller, on this 2003 SAAB 95. When they break, your window can fall down into the door, and you really do not want that to happen, especially if you're on like vacation and it starts to rain or something. So I'm going to replace them before they break. It's actually very easy and very cheap, so let's do it. So the first thing that we need to do is take off these three covers that hold on main frame screws that hold this door panel onto the inside of the door. So using a small tool, you want to pop them out. I have a tiny screwdriver. It has to be really small. I'm using a T30. You're going to take the door handle bolt off. And this will actually hold on the entire door handle assembly. Make sure not to lose these things. And it will just pull off. And so these holes are kind of a little bit too small to get any decent extension in, as you can see. So for these two bolts, it might be better to get something for a screwdriver. This just comes off really easily. It falls into this gutter here. And it's actually quite easy to put back on as well. And next, you have to take off this piece of plastic molding trim. So be super careful. If you have a tool, it goes a lot easier, but just make sure not to both scratch your paint and snap this really brittle plastic. And then put that someplace for safekeeping. So as you can see, it's sort of off, but it's not completely off. It's because you need to continue down and keep pulling this trim off here. And this will remove it the rest of the way from the door. There is a courtesy light underneath that is quite hot, so make sure not to put your hand on the bulb. And if you still have the screws in here, make sure that they don't go flying off when you pull it up. Pull it upwards over this. Turn this upside down so that you can see this courtesy light assembly. Pull it through, and unclip it. This will allow you to pull the door card completely away from the door. So you'll notice that there is this is called a vapor barrier. Basically it keeps outside and the interior of your car on the inside. It's held on with this sort of like gummy glue that is removable, and you'll be able to reuse and sort of stick back onto once you pull this off. So just carefully pull this off. This is about as much access as you can hope for. And many of you will notice inside your door, you will find one of these. This is the window guide that the power window guide uses as sort of a barrier between the metal frame and the glass. So when you go over bumps and stuff, when the window is down, you will hear sort of rattling. That's because this is fallen out and unglued. So you can choose if you want to put this back in. It's not too hard, but you do have to glue it back in, which I will do a little bit later. So at this point, you can turn your car on and roll the window down to expose the window rollers. And there they are. See that they live at the very end of these two sort of swiveling arms. They're really actually quite easy to take off. Alright, so with the window rollers exposed, you can come in here with a screwdriver. They're held in with like a little clip, so you can just use a screwdriver to pop that clip off. And then with that clip off, you can sort of either use a lever or with your hands pop the ball joint out of the clip. It's going to be a little bit trickier if you don't already, if your window roller is already broken. But these are actually in good shape, so I'm just replacing them preemptively because you don't want to get stuck with a broken window roller anywhere. Also be careful because a lot of this is sharp. Alright, there it is. As you can see, the window is going to slump down a little bit because nothing is actually holding it on anymore. So, raise the window up, and so you can get that ball joint back into the front of the window roller. Once it's seated in there, you want to use some pliers to really like make sure that it's popped in. Nope, see, there you go. You'll get a satisfying pop. And one down, one to go. Move the clip. Pop it out. This one actually was a little bit broken. You could see it's starting to actually melt. So it's good that I'm changing these now before that actually becomes a problem. There, finally. All right. So, the last thing you want to do is apply a thin layer of grease to both of these to make sure that they don't melt or to succumb to friction in the future, which is what happened to the previous ones. Move the window up and down a few times to make sure that it's all fully lubricated. Nice and smooth. So clean off this strip that the window runs in and apply super glue to the outside so that it hopefully doesn't happen again. Apply some this Wurth bond and seal to both the piece of rubber and the rail. The large side goes towards the interior of the vehicle. If you want, you should wear gloves for this if you don't want to get some of the sticky stuff on your hands. Just feed it right up. Should slot in relatively easily. If it doesn't, then you might be facing it the wrong direction. And make sure that it's slotted in correctly at the very top. To finish this process off, you want to roll your window down so that the adhesive sets with the window putting tension on it. All right, with the glue setting and the window back in track, we can get started putting this back together again. Some of you will probably opt to get some sort of double-sided tape to stick this on, but it's not super necessary. This stuff is sticky enough so that it'll at least stay in place. The idea is that it's a moisture barrier, so it keeps exterior moisture from entering the car. Depends on how much you really care about that, I suppose. Me, not so much. We gotta make sure that that wire comes through before sticking anything back on. Alright. Okay, so first off, you gotta have the cable for your courtesy light. Pop that in. Be careful not to burn yourself, and just simply slide that down into place. Now we're going to be putting this back up. What things are going to be looking for is this lock has to get moved into place. And then your main window seal is going to have to fall into the crack. So there it goes. And just go around and clip these into place. It's important never to force anything, because you really do not want to break this, trust me. All right. That in place. Go about clipping this one back in, and this is going to sort of slide into there like so. Make sure your clips are lined up. Basically, the older the vehicle, the worse these panel back caps are going to be, so just have to get used to that. This is also fairly easy to install. It just slips into the channel that you can see. All right, with everything back in place, you can start putting your screws back in. Hold the door panel on. To put the door handle in, you make sure that it's in sort of the closed position, and you want this will slot onto this. So it will just push in like so, and you can test it. That's fine. One more screw. And you can start putting your covers back in. This one goes in sort of this orientation with the curved part going towards the top. And this sort of wonky looking one is going to go the door handle right like that. And this one will go as the last part. That's it. Now I have new window rollers, and I'd say that you're probably good for about another 10 years. You'll never have to open this door again, hopefully.